Good afternoon, travel advisors, and welcome to today's training session. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. We do appreciate it. My name is Doug Cook. I'm the publisher of Jack's Facts Travel Marketing, and I will be your moderator once again today. And again today, we are joined by our friends Mike Adams and Christina Zimmer, representing the Upper Rhine region, which of course includes the countries of Germany, Switzerland, and France. Mike and Christina are here to tell you all about what makes this region so special and a great choice for your clients. Before we get started, a couple housekeeping items. We will have time for questions after the presentation, so please do send us those in the space provided and we promise to get to them. And also the webinar is being recorded, so no need to take notes. We will be sending you a copy of the recording, and you can always find the recordings on our website, which is jacksfacts.com. And with that, let me just show you a brief introductory video, and then we will proceed. Fantastic. And Christina, I will give the control to you, and you and Mike can get started with the presentation.
So is it okay now?
It looks great.
Thank you.
Perfect. And a very warm welcome and thank you very much for taking the time out to join us today. I appreciate that most of you are very much in a recovery mode, and I know that that you're obviously starting to pick up speed with your work, and as you are a travel professional, I very much appreciate you taking the time to have a look at Europe today, and dare I say, the heart of Europe. Christina and I are very privileged to live in this neck of the woods, and in particular in the tri-national region of the Upper Rhine Valley. Now, the tri-national region, as some of you are familiar, is the region of Germany, in that case, the Black Forest, France, the Alsatian area, and the area of Basel, as we call it, Switzerland, which in that corner of, I don't know if you can actually see my mouse, my pointer here, It is where, yes, wonderful. Thank you, Christina. It is that
You're
region
welcome.
that you see outlined right here. And just to give you an idea about distances, when we're saying the Rhine connects these three countries, of course, maybe head back for one moment, if you will, and show the last slide. One back, thank you.
Okay.
Most of you are familiar actually with the Rhine area, the so-called Romantic Rhine, which one advance again, which is shown by a circle and is the area kind of north of Frankfurt. I think, Christina, one forward, please. And then that in pink, the area that you see there from Mainz to Koblenz is obviously the probably more romantic, or the part that's known as the romantic part of the Rhine that a lot of you are familiar with. But the area of the Rhine that we're talking about is really south. It is not as far. The Rhine ships, the Rhine cruises actually usually end or start in Baal or Basel, as you see on the map there. And this is where the three countries meet. Just to give you an idea about distances, you see on the top there is Frankfurt with its well-known international airport, and you see in the top area there as well below Heidelberg the area of Karlsruhe, the city of Karlsruhe, and that is an hour's train trip. So you can imagine 2.5 hours and you're well in the south and well in the direction of Basel, Switzerland. So just to give you an idea. And of course, Germany, as you are probably familiar, probably the only Western country where there are still no speed limits on the Autobahn, and there are certain stretches where you can really push your Porsche or your Merc or whatever and mosey right along. But then again, I guess we're all here when we are on vacation to enjoy the scenery, and while the Autobahn gets you very quickly from A to B or even to C, I think it's the side routes that are really the interesting areas. When we'll go ahead one more, we will then see really this particular area. And while I was pointing out the Frankfurt airport, of course, very important is the Euro airport, which serves exactly that trinational region. And it is well connected. And as you know, that a lot of transatlantic routes are being rejuvenated, so to say, or being flown again. That is the same case with Baal's Euro airport, and it is a particular, a great example of how well it is connected within Europe. As you can see in that top left-hand picture, that blue spot, that of course is the heart, that's the Baal area, and truly you can say it is the heart of Europe. And I realize that not necessarily a lot of people are coming for a trip for that area alone, but as we all know, there's so many Rhine River cruises which either start or end in Basel, which of course then provide your clients with the opportunity to enjoy the area. And of course, the advantage is you can hit three countries comfortably in one day, have breakfast here, have lunch there and dinner there, but that is not what we're really advocating or suggesting, because of course it is an area where you can spend at least 2 or 3 days. I realize that the days are precious when American travelers are coming to our neck of the woods. Nevertheless, there are 3 countries which are easily explorable from either one of the corners of that trinational region. Moving right along,
So I will take over. Okay.
You're going to take over. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
Okay, it's great. Thank you very much, Mike. Good evening from Germany, from Freiburg. It's the beautiful capital of the Black Forest. And Up Rhine Valley is a cross-border tourism operation. We are 12 project partners from Germany, Switzerland, and France. And we are supporting tourism in the Up Rhine Valley through destination marketing. As Mike already told us, the convenient geographic location of the Up Rhine Valley makes it easy to travel between the region and cities, all of which are very well connected by the Euro Airport Basel-Mulhouse Freiburg train stations and roadways. And you can see plenty of sites all in one day, thanks to open borders between Germany, Switzerland, and France. The Euro Airport Basel-Mulhouse Freiburg celebrated its 75th anniversary this year, and there are more than 90 direct flights and about 9 million passengers per year. And it's physically in France, but uniquely operated as the only airport globally by 2 countries. There are no direct flights from the US, but you can, for example, fly via Amsterdam with KLM or Delta Airlines, or via Frankfurt with United Airlines or Lufthansa. There are excellent public transportation systems with high-speed service, and you have only 30 minutes to 2 hours between the cities. And as Mike already told us, there is an excellent highway network. You can also reach the Up Rhine Valley via the River Rhine. The cabin ships, Viking River Cruise, Uniworld, Crystal River Cruise, and so on, carry around 100,000 guests to Basel in Switzerland each year. The cities of the Up Rhine Valley. On the left-hand side, you can see in France, in Alsace, Strasbourg, Cualmar and Mulhouse. In Switzerland, there's Basel and Basel-Land. And in Germany, there's Karlsruhe, Baden Baden, and Freiburg. Strasbourg is a European capital, and it includes an incredible diversity of architectural styles. It's the status of UNESCO World Heritage. Visitors can discover the Notre Dame. It's a masterpiece of Gothic art. Strasbourg is also the seat of the European Parliament and numerous European institutions, such as the Council of Europe. Cualmar, it's the comfortable city. It's the capital of wine-producing area in Alsace. It's a snapshot of an idyllic lifestyle with its half-timbered houses, its canals, its little Venice district, and its flowers. Mulhouse, it is an Eldorado for technology, economy, and industry. Mulhouse has been classified as Town of Art and History, and it has 7 different museums. Karlsruhe, it's the fan-shaped city. In 1715, Markgraf Karl Wilhelm of Baden-Durlach built a new residence. From this palace, 32 streets radiate like the rays of the sun. This unique city architecture still characterizes the image of Karlsruhe. It's the reason for its nickname, the fan-shaped city. Baden-Baden, it's the elegant city. Baden-Baden stands for spa resorts, gambling, horse racing, dance, and theater. A beautiful landscape and Mediterranean climate, tennis, golf and riding, and, according to Marlene Dietrich, the most beautiful casino in the world. Freiburg is the Mediterranean city. It's blessed by the sun and surrounded by rolling green black forest hills. The most inspiring monument in Freiburg is the cathedral. It is regarded as a miracle of the medieval mason's craft, surrounded by a beautiful old town and the colorful market square. Basel is the artist city. This city is cosmopolitan and innovative. With its world-famous museum and high-caliber events, it has become a hotspot of the art world. So, Mark, can I take over to you for wine and dine?
Absolutely. Let me
Thank
just
you very
add
much.
two more comments actually to two of the places that Christina mentioned. Karlsruhe, of course, is worth pointing out that one of the reasons why Washington, D.C. today looks like Washington, D.C. is because John Adams, the third president of no relations, by the way, because you know, we have a similar last name, but he is not a relative of mine. John Adams was the United States ambassador, the American ambassador to France before he became president, and he was very interested in architecture. He traveled extensively in Europe, and one of the places he went to was Karlsruhe. And Karlsruhe already then had the layout, and as Christina was mentioning, is the fan-shaped city with the streets leading to the castle, to the palace, and that's the idea actually that John Adams picked up, and you see the palace right here, and all the streets leading to that gave him the idea this is what the layout of Washington, D.C. should be like. And to add one more thing to the elegant, very elegant city of Baden Baden is Fyodor Dostoevsky, the Russian writer, was an avid gambler. And he spent a lot of time and was banned actually quite often as well from the casino in Baden Baden. And he's the writer of very famous novels, and that was, so to say, his home patch. Moving right along, Christina was already showing the first slide of my batch, and that is obviously very much wine related. You see the vineyards in this neck of the woods. We have in particular in the Alsatian area and the southern area of Germany, south of the Black Forest, we have fantastic wines. Now, I'm very familiar with the US and especially wine shops and so on and so forth. The unfortunate thing really is that there is a limited number of bottles every year, and the people in that neck of the woods are keeping the wine to themselves. They're not exporting a lot. You are familiar with wine from the Rhine area, possibly from the Mosel and so on. But this wine is not exported because the locals enjoy it, and obviously visitors can enjoy it in the area as well. You see in this particular slide a very windy road. Imagine you're hiring a Merc SL or your Kleins R or a Porsche, and you can drive along these particular roads, and with a convertible, fascinating. Walking in the vineyards, you don't have to have very steep climbs. These are usually very low ascent or descent hills and valleys, so easily manageable, so fantastic area if you're a wine connoisseur. And also, and moving to the next slide, and also, of course, food, because the area of the Upper Rhine Valley is a food connoisseur's heaven, culinary heaven, so to say. We have the most Michelin stars of any area in Germany. But dare I say, it does not always have to be a Michelin-starred restaurant. It can be, of course, also local fare, which this is a perfect example of. That is also in Switzerland. I could just, if I hadn't had dinner right now, because I hate to tell you, it is almost going on 7:30 here in Germany right now. If I haven't had dinner already, I would just dive into that particular picture. The very local, excuse me, the very local and regional foods, such as the sausages and the charcuterie in France, but also the raclette cheese in Switzerland, or any tarte flambé, are fascinating. Moving along, we then have, of course, the next slide giving us an idea about shopping. I realize every time I come to the States, a lot of typical things that make the way home to Germany for me, and I guess a lot of Americans are switched on even nowadays to the traditional cuckoo clock. And I realize a number of you are more interested in more modern things, and this is the modern version of the cuckoo clock. If you look at the top of this, you see a little birdie coming out, or you go really crazy in the next picture. That is, of course, the most modern version, and again, every hour on the hour, the cuckoo will say hello. This is a very well-known artist now, and he, dare I say, sells them for a lot of money as well, but they are a perfect souvenir from the trinational region of Europe. Moving along, we come, of course, to Alsatian pottery, very famous, very well known. People are in that area are very used to visitors and guests from far away, so they are packing these things very nicely, so they're not being harmed on the way home, or of course they send them as well. And wines from the Alsatian area, like the Muscat wines, are a perfect gift to take home. And of course, Alsatian wines are in quantity slightly more available than from the German side of things. Also, dare I say, the Swiss in the Basel area, there are wineries there as well, but they do, of course, promote their watches significantly more, and they provide, of course, the chocolates. Typical souvenirs from this particular area, and Swiss watches, as we all know, are state of the art, whether it is from a Swatch to any of the very well-known high-end brands, which of course I don't want to make any advertising for a particular brand, but in this particular case, you know that Switzerland is the prime area to buy a watch and nibble on chocolate. And moving along to the next slide, we will then, of course, delve right into the architecture.
Yeah, art and culture.
Art is a particular area which is very special for Christina, and this is where she will take over.
Thank you very much, Mike. The Upper Rhine Valley has a plenty to offer to lovers of modern art. As you can see here, the Unterlinden Museum Alsace is well known for its famous Isenheim altar piece, one of France's most popular museums. It dates from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance periods. The Fondation Bela in Basel, from Cézanne and Van Gogh to Klee, Miro, Warhol and Rothko. These world-famous artists can be viewed at the Fondation Bela in Basel. The Museum Frieda Burda in Baden Baden, you can see it here, the white building in Baden Baden. It includes 1,000 paintings, graphics and sculptures, and it's internationally acclaimed. It focuses primarily on classic modernism and the contemporary area. The Augustine Museum Freiburg, it is an architectural jewel admired far beyond Freiburg and not only for its constructions. It presents art collection with works from the Middle Ages, the Baroque period, as well as paintings from the 19th century. Then palaces and castles in the Upper Rhine Valley. You can find them like pearls on a string. Would you like to travel back in time to days of kings, queens, knights, and ladies? Then the Upper Rhine Valley is the perfect destination. Here you can see the Karlsruhe Palace. It's the Baden State Museum, and it offers a spectacular overview of more than 5,000 years of international cultural history. The Hochkönigsburg, in the heart of Alsace, invites you to discover almost 900 years of history. Many tours for every taste and age group are offered. And also Basel Land has a lot of castles to discover, as you can see here. Then, Mike, I would like to switch over to you.
Absolutely.
For events and
now
traditions.
We're coming to the traditions. Many thanks, Christina. Of course, this is one of the typical pictures or images that you might have in your head when you were talking about the Black Forest. These are the ladies with their local costumes with a pom-pom, red pom-poms on their heads. These hats are very special, and dare I say, they're not only worn for showing to guests. I'm trying to avoid the word tourists. We consider them more like guests we want to treat as friends to our homes and overnight facilities. These pom-pom hats are very often, and the traditional costumes are very much worn by people in the smaller villages on Sundays or on special festive days. Very important for you to know, if you see a girl with a red pom-pom hat, you know she is not married. And when the pom-poms are black, then the girls are married. You know, tongue in cheek, obviously they're black because they're in mourning, because they're married and they're already unhappy about being married to the guy. But let's not dwell on that. But it's important you know the difference between red pom-poms and black pom-poms. So it is not only worn for tourists, but really for celebrating their traditions and their traditional costumes in the Black Forest. Moving along, we go to the next slide, and we'll see obviously very well-known traditions such as Carnival. You see in the top right-hand corner carnival as you know it. We call it Fasnacht, Fasenet. Typical, a very big stronghold is that southern area, in particular also Basel and the Black Forest area. Of course, very well-known tradition are German Christmas markets, which you see right below, and a very unusual tradition that you may or may not be familiar with is swimming in the River Rhine in the city of Basel. And that is a fascinating thing. And I believe this is the point when we'll show another short video, Christina, is that right? Or Doug? Or
no, the video will be at the end.
I'll show it later, that's fine.
Yes,
Expect
okay.
Nice. Wonderful. And the swimming in the Rhine is something that is highly, highly unusual. I believe you might be worried, but you should not be worried. It is a very well exercised tradition, and every summer people for a few hundred meters down the river Rhine let themselves kind of be pushed or taken along by the flow of the river, and then they exit at a certain point and can walk back and can do this right away again. You put your clothes in a little carrier bag, which you see right there, the green and the red and the kind of bluish or turquoise, and you have all your clothes with you, you have your towel with you, and when you're out of the river, you can dry yourself off, walk a little bit up the river again, and do the very same thing again. Fascinating and a lot of fun. Okay, moving along, we're then going to the autumn fairs. Like you have wine festivals. The last ones are pretty much over now, but from starting in late August to sometime late in October, we have the vast majority of the different wine festivals and autumn fairs. We need to explain as well that despite the fact that we have a little bit of hills, the area of the Upper Rhine Valley is the most sunny area of Germany as a whole, and of course of that whole trinational region. So if you're ever looking for some half decent guarantee of very nice weather, this is where to have it, because it is absolutely stunning and almost a guarantee that you will have sunny weather in this neck of the woods. And moving along, we are going to the Christmas markets. And of course, Christmas markets, I have had the privilege to be in all these three cities for Christmas markets, and probably about 5 or 10 more in that area. I live slightly outside of the Upper Rhine Valley. I live very close to Heidelberg, and one of the favorite areas for me to visit is the Christmas market of Strasbourg. It is a fascinating place to go to, and of course Basel and Freiburg and Karlsruhe are absolutely stunning places to visit. This year, most of the Christmas markets are on again. As you know, last year, because of the COVID restrictions, we hardly had any Christmas markets, but in most places, they are actually being held, of course, with a little bit of a safety valve and some of the huts a little further apart, but it's we're very much getting back to normal, and we're very happy about this. And I guess you see it in the request for Europe as a whole as well. Okay, we're going on. Obviously, Christmas being the next big part upon us, and after Christmas, the Carnival, Fasenet, Fastnacht, as we call it, and the
Carnival.
Morgenstreich, which is a typical thing for Basel. I think, Christina, you can probably explain that a bit better. Dare I say, it is probably not as much my cup of tea, but you are extremely familiar with those traditions.
I have been to the Morgenstreich in Basel. It's about 15 years, but I know that it starts after midnight. The Morgenstreich starts after midnight, and then they are going to the streets, and you have a lot of music and dance and carnival and yes. But not so much beer and wine like here.
Right. It's not comparable to Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and you cannot compare it to Carnival in Rio. You cannot even compare it, in case you're familiar with it, to the Carnival you experience in other parts of Germany. It is a very particular type of Carnival, which is only to be experienced in that area. Absolutely fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's worth a trip. I know actually of quite a few Americans who just come for that spectacle over, because obviously, as you know, it is the days preceding, predominantly preceding Ash Wednesday. So it's a time of the year when people are not usually traveling in droves to Europe, but absolutely a highlight and fun event to attend. Okay, moving right along.
Yes, it's a different landscape. I will take over if it's okay for you.
Absolutely.
The Upper Rhine Valley is the ideal vacation destination for active explorers. You can explore spectacular landscape like the Black Forest, the Vosges, and the Swiss mountains. You can do this by hiking or climbing. Here you can see Basel-Land. You can have really great hikes, and it's really an e-bike paradise. And yes, it's a great destination to be active. What to do in the Upper Rhine Valley? You can go skiing, you can go golfing, you can go biking or hiking to the vineyards, you can go river rafting, you can visit the Parc des Eaux Vives, you can go to the spas, you can explore the regions or cities by old-timer tram, sightseeing boat, city trains, you can cruise on the Rhine, you can visit a watchmaking company, you can discover the Basel Zoo, you can craft yourself chocolate on a workshop, you can visit the Monkey Mountains, and so on. So you can experience the Upper Rhine Valley in every season. For example, in spring, you can visit the beautiful markets. For example, the cathedral markets in Freiburg. In summer, you can go on a Rhine cruise. In autumn, you can go on a vineyard tour, and in the winter, you can go skiing on the Feldberg in the Black Forest. And Mike, this is your part. The Europa Park.
This is my part, absolutely. I did put myself on mute because I heard on the phone my wife was talking to the grandkids, so I just wanted to make absolutely certain that we don't have any particular noises which were unwanted. Now, Europa Park. If you have not been to Europa Park, you haven't lived. Now, I'm not exaggerating. I pride myself in having a little bit of an idea about theme parks. I used to be the person responsible for marketing Walt Disney's theme parks in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland for quite a few years. And there is one particular theme park which gave me a lot of grief, and that is Europa Park on the German side of the tri-national region of the Upper Rhine Valley. You have actually roller coasters which are second to none. As a matter of fact, Europa Park has been voted quite a number of times Europe's best theme park as well as the world's top theme park, despite Six Flags, Magic Mountains, Disney parks, and many other parks. Europa Park has a fantastic price value proposition. They have, I think they're now on their 6th themed hotel on premises in the park or in the direct periphery of the park. And if you're really looking very sharply, you will find that quite a few of the American parks, Japanese parks, and Chinese theme parks have rides from the family, which, by the way, this particular park, Europa Park, family owned. And the family has been in the carousel making business for many years. They started actually in late 1700s making stagecoaches to get people from A to B, horse-drawn stagecoaches. And when it came then to making carousels in the 1920s, they were among the front runners, and there are today 3D experiences which are being installed in many theme parks across the world. They're still located in the Black Forest, and absolutely, if you have only one theme park fan in your family, do go and visit Europa Park. Christina, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mike. Your perfect city day in 3 countries. To explain you a little bit the distances between the countries, I would like to give you an example. You can have breakfast in Freiburg in Germany and sightseeing, and then you can drive less than 1 hour by car to Cualmar in France. There you can have lunch and wine tasting. Then you have again less than 1 hour by car, and you can have dinner in Basel, Switzerland, and go on a Rhine cruise. The same for your perfect nature day in 3 countries. You can, in the morning, you can go to Black Forest in Germany. Then you have about 1.5 hour by car to Alsace. In France, you can visit the watches and the castle Hochkönigsburg. And then you can drive about 1.5 hour to Basel, Switzerland, and you can enjoy the mountains and the beautiful view. We have a lot of guest cards here in these regions. For example, we have the Basel card. There you have free use of public transport, free Wi-Fi. You have 50% discount to Basel museums, Basel Zoo, Basel Theatre, and Basel guided tours. The Schwarzwald card is in the Black Forest. There you have free admissions and discounts to more than 190 attractions. And we have the Freiburg welcome card. There you have free public transport within city limits, discount on guided city tours, and free admissions to municipal museums for adults. So just visit us on uprhinevalley.com, and we would be happy to welcome you here in the Upper Rhine Valley.
Well, and I hope we can answer a lot of your questions. Well, first of all, we hope you have a lot of questions which we can address. And Doug, would you be able to facilitate and tell us whether there are any particular questions that we may be able to answer?
Absolutely. We do have a
While
couple
you're,
questions. Did you want to show the video now, or do you want to show that after the
oh,
questions?
I think let's address the questions first briefly, and then maybe a few other questions might arise. Is that all
Okay,
right?
that sounds good. One question we have, is it necessary to rent a car in order to tour the area, or can you do it sufficiently through train and public transportation?
I would very much say in order to enjoy the beauty of the area and to enjoy some of the vineyards and to see some of the really tiny places which are in all three areas, I would probably venture to say hire or rent a car. Of course, you can get easily from A to B, that's not the question. And if you're an avid hiker or a biker, as Christina was pointing out, a lot of that territory is perfect for e-bikes, and you can rent e-bikes in many areas. So if you are used to biking, then of course you can easily travel by train, hire a bike, rent a bike, and go through the hills and to many of the areas. If you are not really into biking, I would very much suggest rent a car to enjoy some of the more secluded and remote areas, such as the one we see right here. I mean, it is a wonderful place. Imagine yourself sitting in a car and going on that road that we see here in this particular picture. Um, that
Beautiful.
is a little bit removed from any train connection.
Absolutely, I can see that. Great, thank you. Can physically challenged be accommodated within this region?
Absolutely. I mean, there are no two questions about it. I think in all three regions, um, the concentration of tourist and organizations and of hoteliers has been in developing facilities for handicapped people. So if you're physically if you're having some physical challenges, I think there are in most areas always good choices available for any kinds of levels of accommodation, and most of the websites will have that particular information. But if you have a particular area and you need a recommendation, of course, do write to us. Christina, I think, pointed out the email address, and you will always find it if you go under Upper Rhine Valley, and you will find the contact details for us. But yes, if you are only remembering the Europe from, dare I say, 20 years ago, or even only 10 years ago, things have changed tremendously.
Right, very good. For a post-Rhine River cruise, is it best to stay in Basel, or is staying in France or Germany easier and a better value?
Now, yes, I mean, let's face it. I think there is no secret that Switzerland is, because of the Swiss franc, in some areas more costly than other areas in the region of the Upper Rhine Valley. At the same time, one can say that the Swiss have also high quality accommodations, and yes, Switzerland will always be a tad more expensive. But as we all know, when we're traveling, I think we'd like to take in as much as possible local areas, and an overnight in Basel or an overnight in the Basel region is a very fascinating thing, and I would not stay in, dare I say, Karlsruhe if you're saying, well, I'm mostly interested in the art museums of Basel. At the same time, if you're interested in the Black Forest, I would stay in the Black Forest. But yes, in all fairness and honesty, Switzerland will be slightly more pricey than the rest of the tri-national region.
Fair enough. Great. We have another question here. What are the current entry regulations for Germany? And to that, I might add, what are the current on-the-ground COVID protocols?
Christina, you want to take that one? Obviously, we have, you need to be vaccinated or you need to have
tested or
test
3
results.
Gs. Yes, that's the same in all 3 countries at the moment.
Sure. And
So
we know that's ever
that
changing.
is obviously possible to change.
Yes,
at
2,
any
3
given
Gs.
time, and I would
Yes.
absolutely, and I would always check closer to departure. But right now, you have to have either been recovered from COVID, you have to have been vaccinated, or you have proof of a particular test, and it is not a self-test, of course, and it is still being watched more. From what I gather, people are still wearing masks more frequently here in Europe than in the US, but it's not deterring anyone from enjoying whether it's shopping in a restaurant. Of course, you only wear it until you're at the table, and
Sure.
otherwise it would look pretty stupid if you would always have to take the mask off to feed your face. So, you know, I think it's a general precaution, but I think it's on the way out, and come next spring we should be all pretty much fine again.
Good. Let's hope so. Here's a question I'm not really sure what they're getting at. They say they're on a Rhine cruise next week. How can we enter both Germany and France from the ship? Does that question
Well, it
make
depends
sense?
on what kind of excursions are planned. They must, at least they would, if they are in the area of the Upper Rhine Valley, then they will most likely, the ship will depart from Basel, or it will end in Basel. And then, of course, between Germany and France, there are no border patrols at all. We have the Schengen Agreement, which did away with any kind of border controls. Even going in and out of Switzerland is not in any way, shape, or form a major task. Sometimes you're being checked, but I would say very rarely is that the case. With COVID, they might be checking vaccination or whether you have a test, but usually it's fine. Once you've landed, you're pretty free to go.
Okay, great. You mentioned Christmas markets are reopening, which is obviously great news. That's a huge draw for the off-season travel. Can you talk a little bit about the winter weather in the Upper Rhine Valley? What type, you mentioned almost every day is a sunny day, but what type of weather can people expect off-season?
Christina, would you like to take that one, or should I?
Yeah, so last year we had really a lot of snow here in Freiburg. It was amazing, and the kids could go with the Schlitten. How
Sledding.
can we?
Sledding.
Yes.
They could go
Here
sledding.
in Freiburg, it was great. But it's not like this every year. Sometimes we have not enough snow on the Feldberg. So yes, what can I say? It depends on the weather.
Over the last 20 or 30 years, we can say that global warming has happened in Europe as well.
Yes.
And the traditional winners that we've enjoyed in the past are not as much anymore as they used to. Still, I think it is important to really point out, as I mentioned earlier, the Upper Rhine Valley is in Central Europe the most sunny area and the area with the best weather when you enjoy sunshine. So I think it is fine when you go in the winter. It's fine when you go in the fall or in the spring, and of course in the summer anyway.
All right, great. Well, that looks like that's all the questions that we have.
So we'll close it off with our little video clip there.
We'll close it
as
off
an
with the video.
appetizer.
Yeah, why don't we say goodbye now, and then we'll close it off with the video clip and sign off from there. So thank you both very much for that presentation. We appreciate it. Thank you for our travel advisors for joining us today. Any last words from either of you?
Thanks very much to Doug. Thanks very much, Doug, and to Jack's Facts.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure to work with you. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. And now stay tuned
Bye
for the
from
video.
Germany.
All right. We'll see you all next time. Here's the video.
See you next time.
Bye.
All right. Bye for
Bye
now.
now.
Thank you.
Bye.